Welcome to Coaches Roundtable. I'm Ed Codi, and welcome our guest, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette sports writer and Steeler insider, Ray Fittipaldo. Ray, thanks for joining us. I want to start with this. You're familiar with the Rod Stewart hit song, A Reason to Believe. Are you still believing in the Steelers?
Man, it's hard, Ed. I mean, after the Cardinals game and the Patriots game, I think I'm off the bandwagon. They have opportunities to continue to be in the playoff race. And when you look at the next two games against the Colts and the Bengals, if they win those two games, they'll actually be in really good shape because the Colts and the Bengals are chasing them in the wild card race. But against the Patriots, the defense faltered. Against the Cardinals, it was the offense. They just can never get on the same page. Offense, defense, special teams. So, yeah, it's looking like an uphill climb for them to get back into. I know they're in playoff position, but for me to believe that they're actually a playoff team.
But how disappointing is it that a backup quarterback like Bailey Zappi can have a quarterback rating of 134 in the first half, 115 for the game, 3 touchdown passes, throws for 240. I was just stunned by his performance.
Yeah, and he was terrible leading up to that game. That was only his third NFL start. Really surprising. You know what Bill Belichick often does really well is he'll get a matchup that he likes and he won't go away from it. And he loved Ezekiel Elliott on the Pittsburgh linebackers, and he loved Hunter Henry on the Pittsburgh linebackers. And they never had an answer. They never were able to adjust until the second half. And by that time, it was 21-3. And I know they mounted a comeback, and they had a chance to maybe tie it at the end. But if you consider yourself a top-notch defense, you got to make better adjustments than you made in that first half against the Patriots.
Well, let's talk about the end that you mentioned. Midfield, 3 minutes to go, have a 3rd and 2. I said, well, they're going to run the ball here. Throw a pass in the right flat, incomplete. 4th and 2, no Jaylen Warren out in the flat. Throw a 40-yard pass downfield, incomplete. I have to ask you, Ray, what is this team's identity that they can't pick up 2 yards on 2 runs at a crucial time of the game?
Yeah, I mean, we kept hearing for the previous 5-6 weeks that they had developed into a running team, and that they had a run first mentality. So I know it wasn't going well against the Patriots in the run game. Mitch Trubisky was actually the leading rusher in that game with 30 yards. So Harris and Warren were shut down. But I'm with you. Plenty of time on the clock. Run the ball on 3rd down. Now, listen, if it's still 4th and 1, 4th and 2 on 4th down, then you got to make a decision. But I didn't like the 3rd down call. Then the 4th down call. Every NFL team, Ed, has a pick play in their playbook. You run a pick, get a guy open, you put it on the officials to make that call or not. And instead, they go deep to Deontay Johnson, and it wasn't there. So really questionable play calling, questionable decision making there late in that football game, if you ask me.
I thought Freiermuth would have been a target on that 4th and 2 with something right over the middle to him on a quick curl. And that was a disappointing, incomplete pass. Hey, Ray, let's look at the whole situation here. The last 2 years, they're 16-14. Since they started 2020, 11-0. They are 26, 26-1. Is this the new standard?
Well, it's looking that way. I mean, that's a pretty big sample size that you just detailed there, Ed. It's interesting. The Steelers never bottom out. I mean, the Patriots are now in a position. I don't know what they're going to do with Bill Belichick. They could move on from him, but they're now in a position, given their draft slot, that they can go ahead and get their quarterback for the future. What the Steelers do by being in it every single year, and sometimes they make the playoffs, sometimes they don't, but being in that 9-8, 8-9 sort of range, they're never going to pick high enough to get a quarterback. And that's really what this league is all about now. So unless you get lucky and you get a Brock Purdy in the 7th round, or you're like the Patriots and you get Tom Brady in the 6th round, you're going to struggle as a franchise. And I think, honestly, Ed, we're just in the very beginning of this. We're in year 2. And if Kenny Pickett doesn't get better, or they don't address the situation and get another quarterback in here who could be a difference maker, we're going to see more of the same, because the Steelers are never a team that tries to tank, that tries to get that high draft pick. So they're just going to have to hope that Kenny Pickett gets better. And to be honest with you, from what I've seen so far, I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Yeah, you mentioned the quarterback in Pickett, and then you look at the Giants where Tommy DeVito steps in, leads them to 3 straight wins, and then what Will Levis is doing in Tennessee brought them back with 15 points in the last 3 minutes with a win over Miami, and we're not seeing any of that from the Steelers quarterbacks.
I think the hope is, and this is going to have to take place after the season, but the hope is you get an offensive coordinator in here who has a different playbook, who's just better at his job. I mean, a lot of people are down on Eddie Faulkner and Mike Sullivan now, the two kind of interim OCs, and they just have to work with Matt Canada's playbook, and you can't change a lot of what's already been installed right now. So they're just trying to do their best right now to do what they can with this playbook. And like I said, I think the big thing is over the offseason, get an offensive coordinator in here who knows what he's doing, who can run an NFL offense. And I don't think they've had that the last couple of years.
I want to refer to the article you wrote the other day in the PG that the season and team's future seems to be at a crossroads. Can you elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, so Mike Tomlin, Ed, he's going into the last year of his contract. He's under contract for one more year in 2024. And usually Art Rooney would extend that during the summer. He didn't do that this time around. And there's some speculation, was that Art's decision, or was that Mike's decision not to sign the contract? We don't know that at this point. But my point was, if you're Art Rooney, you either have to extend him after the season's over, or you have to kind of just say, hey, it's time to move on. We'll trade you. We'll see what we can get for you in return, and we'll make sure you get into a good spot in your next coaching stop. Because it makes no sense in the world for them to go forward with a lame duck head coach in 2024. You're not going to be able to hire a good OC, and that locker room, which is already fractured a little bit, I think would have some more doubt put into it as well. So I fully expect Art, if Mike wants to come back, to extend him after the season's over. But again, everything has a shelf life, right? Chuck Noll had a shelf life, I think, at 23 years. Bill Cowher was 15 years. We're right now at 17 years for Mike Tomlin. So we'll see if this is the time or not.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but did not Dan Rooney force Chuck Noll out?
I think that situation, that was, I was still in college at that time. I think what happened was they told Chuck that he had to make a bunch of moves within his coaching staff. Chuck balked at it, and he basically just resigned because of it. So we could be in a similar situation here. Mike's last 2 hires for offensive coordinator were not good. If Mike is still going to be the head coach, the Rooneys might want to help him out a little bit and choose that next offensive coordinator. And as the head coach, you got to be on board with that. So it's going to be a very interesting, first couple of weeks in January. I think they finish up the first week, January 8th in Baltimore. After that, they're going to have some big decisions on their hands.
Well, let's look at these last 4 games, and you give us your take percentage chance of winning at Indy. How do you see this game?
50-50. 2 backup quarterbacks. Minshew hasn't been great. I think Jonathan Taylor is iffy for that game. So I think that's a coin flip. They could win or lose that game.
Okay, home against Cincy, the last home game, and a rejuvenated offense under Jake Browning, who's starting to look like Joe Montana.
Yeah, this is what I need when you have like a competent NFL offense and a competent NFL offensive coordinator. Zach Taylor's really good at his job. It took him a week or so to figure out what Jake Browning was good at. He wasn't good against the Steelers, but then comes up really big against the Jaguars, and then he leads them to another victory against the Colts. So that's at home. I'll say another coin flip, 50-50.
At Seattle, a team that's played a brutal schedule down the stretch, but they're tough at home.
Yeah. On the road, that's a long road trip. I think the Steelers they would be challenged to go out there and win. I'll say you got about a 35% chance to win that game.
And then finish at Baltimore.
Big unknown. Does Baltimore have everything cinched up? If that's the case, if they have the 1 seed, then they could be resting players, and that could be a shot for the Steelers to win that game. But if Baltimore is playing for a 1 seed, if their starters are playing, Steelers have almost no chance to win that football game.
And how about if they want to keep the Steelers out of the playoffs?
Yeah, that could be some incentive too. What was it? Was it 2 years ago, Ed? The Steelers went down to Baltimore, won on the final weekend,
Yes.
and they got a wild card. Now they got their doors blown off the next week in Kansas City,
Right.
but I think the Ravens will remember that for sure.
Hey, Ray, always great to have you on. Interesting stuff. It's going to be exciting here down the stretch. Thanks for coming on.
I always appreciate you having me on, Ed.
You're welcome. I'll be right back with Ellen George.
You've reached Mega Fiber. No one is here to take your call. Leave a message.
Happy holidays. Thanks for calling Armstrong. This is Rachel.
At Armstrong, our 24/7 live support also includes holidays. Armstrong provides you with the customer service you deserve.
I'm back, joined to my right by the Swami George Abraham, to my left the Tiger Albert Campman. Let's go to Spotlight Cross Country. Butler senior Notre Dame recruit Drew Griffith won the Foot Locker Cross Country National Championship in San Diego, coming in first in a field of 40 of the top cross-country runners in the country with a time of 15 minutes, 6.9 seconds. This kid's won them all, WPIAL, state, national. Just to go to San Diego, even if you don't win, is a great trip.
That when I read that really was tremendous.
Impressive.
Beating the best runners in the country.
Yes.
And
And what you gonna do with second?
Yeah, another guy right behind him. Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah, and you think about our weather here and competing against kids from California
Yeah, right, yeah.
and Arizona and those places
Terrific.
is fantastic.
It is.
High school football PIAA championship. St. Joseph Prep 45, North Allegheny 23. The 8th title in the last 11 years for Prep. NA, a great year. WPIAL championship, they finished 13-2. St. Joe's Prep just loaded with Division I players.
Yeah, you could cry I'm a crier on this
Yeah.
because I hate it, but there's no chance to beat them. You understand? North Allegheny has a really good team.
Good team.
And it looked like they couldn't play.
And
it's
it's
not fair.
It took an exceptional Pine Richland team loaded at the time to beat St.
I don't know how
Joe's.
that happened, but this.
What that game end up? 39-30.
Yeah, you're not
that
beating.
year,
You're not beating
something
this.
like
You're
that.
not beating this.
You know, but
No.
here's the thing: these guys in Mechanicsburg can look at that game and think it's an even game. They
Right.
told Blundo, they told McConnell and Maz to practice harder, that it's sour grapes.
Yeah, practice.
You
hard.
watch that game and tell me that's the same?
And go to 5A, Imhotep Charter,
Oh.
38, and a tremendous Peters Township team, 13.
And they had no
Peters
chance
finished-
either.
No. I watched part of it, and I said, this is over right away.
No.
They finished 15-1, and they had a great team and a great season.
Yeah, the Harrisburg game with NA was more, an idea of what the championship should be. A close ball game, NA wins it. It's a high school team.
So I'm going to ask you again. Years ago, they proposed to the athletic directors and the principals, do you want to just stay WPIAL, cut out this, you have more basketball game, and they all voted against it. So what are they looking at? They don't see this?
The fans are all about that. They want to play some state championships. We are smart enough to know that
No chance.
you have no chance when you get down there.
They
The
were 2 and
basketball-
4.
The basketball. Now, like next year, just looking at it, they're going to play Amani 1A football, because that's who Amani is.
Right.
But they're going to play 6A basketball.
Yeah.
And what's to tell you?
And you guys being basketball coach, you knew at one time you played 24 games. Now, because football doesn't end till December,
22,
late
yeah.
in December, the second
Yeah.
week, that you can't play 24 basketball
No,
games anymore.
and to
Unless
get
you play 4 in 1 week.
I,
5 in 1 week. yes.
I remember when I was here, and I'd say, Gary, and he'd say, Coach, you want to play 22. You got to play some Wednesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays to get 22, and they've compacted that season. They count the days between the championship and the next one. Like basketball, it would be track. Football would be basketball.
Well, in 4A, Aliquippa 60, Dallas 14. Next up for the Quips 14-0, they take on the 49ers at Acrisure
That
Stadium.
would be.
They just have, and in 3A, Bell Vernon.
Well, I want to say something.
Yeah.
The Dallas coach said that was one of the best quotes. He said, "Listen, I don't mind losing to Aliquippa
Right.
because they are a community team. He said, I'm not playing St. Joe's. I'm not playing." He said, "They just whooped us. They're just that good."
Very
You know,
good.
You know.
Yeah, and when I watched, that was men against boys. Really
Oh, yeah.
was. Those two running backs.
Oh, my.
When
They got three of them,
When they saw Hayes, I mean, he is a specimen.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to play next year for Penn State.
No,
as
he's
a
only
freshman.
junior. He's only junior.
He's
only a
no,
junior.
I thought he committed. He's going to Penn State
He is.
next year.
He's
only a junior.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Good luck next year with that one.
Yeah.
Tackle him.
That'll be
Bell
good.
Vernon, just move them up to
Yeah.
send them to
They're
the
going.
ACC needs a team.
Yeah.
Bell Vernon 38, Northwestern Lehigh 7. The Leopards' second straight PIAA championship, and they're led by Penn State recruit Quentin Martin, who rushed for 133 yards on 8 carries. They piled up 334 yards rushing.
Yeah, one of those guys has to go defensive back. I don't, Martin or
Yeah, they
Hayes,
can't all run the
They
ball.
can't all run the ball.
Well,
yes,
your runners are back, right?
Yes.
He's 6'3".
But that's what's at Penn
195.
State. That's
Yeah.
what people don't understand.
Yeah.
These are the best players of the best.
Yeah.
And they
yes.
get him.
Yes.
All right, now we go to a game in which it was robbery and denied. Southern Columbia 21, Westinghouse 20. The Bulldogs got robbed. I watched it on a totally unnecessary call after stopping Southern Columbia on a 4th and 2 at midfield with 1:35 to go, which meant Quips take over, take a knee, they win. The better team didn't win. 98% of the officials do a great job, but as you know, you guys been around, we all have coaching. There's a 2% out there. They like to throw the flags and blow the whistles, and this guy, I don't know what he was thinking when he did that.
Al thought it was a great
I
call.
thought it was a great call.
I didn't.
I thought the
did
guy's
not.
running down the floor filling by himself if he doesn't grab his shirt.
I didn't think it was an egregious call that would have determined it, but I mean, you see it one way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I thought you saw it your way.
Yeah, I didn't
I
think.
thought he just reached out.
I just thought it was
tagged him.
I just thought it was just a tag or something.
You know what's interesting about that?
Yeah.
George had the greatest thing
Now,
about
if he'd have done this or that, I agree. I didn't see it.
the Southern Columbia throw 5 passes a game. What do they do, George?
Listen, Eddie.
Listen,
I told
amazing.
Philly on. I called Philly on. I said, how do they never pass?
Right.
But when they do, they make catches that would make Megatron proud.
I know.
And they
Amazing.
never pass.
Yep, it's just a shame. Westinghouse 28-2 the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
2 losses to Southern Columbia, and this one by 1 point.
Well,
Just
everybody was rooting for Westinghouse in that game.
everyone.
yes.
Yeah, and then this idea they can win 17 in a row but not move up because they don't have any transfers.
It's hard for me to believe.
Bull.
Southern Columbia, it's their 7th straight title, and they don't budge.
No, there's no transfers. That's why.
Aliquippa, they're ready to move them to the
No,
Big
they
Ten.
had to fight it. They were
Yeah,
going to fight.
right.
You understand 2 transfers at Aliquippa, that happens daily.
You know what the Aliquippa players would say?
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah, they don't.
Where do you want us to play? Just tell us where.
But
to
you
George
get,
made a great point,
You get
though.
them Hotep, baby.
At
that-
Aliquippa, because I happen to be from Farrell. It's the same lower
Yeah.
economic.
Socioeconomic,
So
absolutely.
they move from grandpa to grandma to mom and dad.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not a transfer, but that's what they call it.
That's not a
I know.
football
That's what they
trip.
said.
That's not a football. Now, I don't know. I would like to see how many of the Aliquippa guys are from Ambridge.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt they
Rochester,
are. I wouldn't doubt
an
that.
aunt or
Yeah.
something like that.
I wouldn't
too.
doubt that. at
Yeah,
all. But I just know Southern Columbia has that program in place.
something. Oh, that's not.
It's not a transfer though, Eddie,
No.
but they get players.
Somehow.
Right. Absolutely.
The place is too small to be that good
Every year.
Every
Yeah,
year.
it's true.
1A, Stilton High Spire, 42, Fort Cherry 8. Fort Cherry, they finished a great year at 15-1. So the WPIAL Western PA, they finished 2-4 in the championships.
One of the things I heard in these championships I really liked, the quarterback from Stilton is going to the Naval Academy,
Yeah.
and the quarterback from Imhop, how you say it, George?
Imhotep.
Imhotep.
is going to
Army.
How about
Well,
that?
they both look
top
like-
2 brilliant kids.
And I'll tell you what, they look like they both can run that option.
Yes.
Hey, our basketball top scorers for boys, Joey DePirick of North Allegheny, 36. Joe Roth of Elwood City, 34, and a 58-51 loss to Slippery Rock High School. Ryan Check of Mars, he had 27. Braylon Littlejohn of Butler, 27. Max Hurry of North Catholic, 25. Tegan Finucane of Knock, he had 24. Donovan Carney of Butler, 23. Tyler Pepin of Seneca Valley, 22 and 21. Morgan Croney of Freeport, 22. Derek Lang of Knock, 21. Luke Kramer, Carn City, 20. And Chasen De La Rosa Rugg of Montauk, 20. For the girls, Lydia Betts of North Allegheny, 25. Rihanna Boyce of Newcastle, 24. And Catherine Kelly of Montauk, 24 and 21. And congratulations to March coach Rob Carmody on career win 400, a 65-46 win over Plum. And in swimming boys, two-sport star Joe Roth for Riverside. He took first in the 50 freestyle, the 100 backstroke, and was part of two winning relay teams in a 102-73 loss to Seneca Valley. Just an amazing athlete, this kid, what he does in both sports. And in girls swimming, Seneca Valley 103, Riverside 30. Seneca Valley's Morgan Baker, she won the 200 freestyle, the 100 freestyle, and she was a member of the winning 200 freestyle relay and 400 freestyle relay teams.
Yeah, Joseph Roth is one of once a lifetime
Unique
type kid, and you don't see anybody who's a big time Division I swimmer, and he could be a scholarship kid in basketball too if he put his time in that sport.
And we go to honors, Slip Rock University senior wide receiver Kyle Sheets. He was named to the first team Division II All-American team. Sheets this past season caught 76 passes for 1,186 yards and 17 touchdowns. Congratulations to him. The Rock has outstanding
Rock has
players
it going, boy.
every year. And by the way, Kutztown lost to Colorado School of the Mines 35-7.
So you know you had no chance.
There's always somebody better out there, isn't there, Eddie?
Yeah,
always
always
somebody
always.
better. Yeah.
All right, let's go to our stories of the week. Fasten your seatbelts. The NFL. And an NFL first for the Steelers, and they're setting records, but not in a positive way. In the 103 years of the NFL, no team with a winning record ever lost back-to-back games to two teams, 8 games under 500. But the Steelers did that in a 21-18 loss to New England, following that 24-10 loss to Arizona. And like a Batman movie where you had smack, slap, now you have zap, as in Bailey Zappi. Guys, he threw for 240 yards in the first half, QB rating of 134 and 115 for the game, the highest quarterback rating against the Steelers this season.
Well, as I figured you'd bring it up, so I'm going to call out T.J. Watt. He's disappeared, and if he's going to be paid all that money.
You know,
That's where they win games. They count you.
did they have any sacks?
No, they weren't near anybody. And if he doesn't get it done, the Steelers are in trouble.
He
I'm
had
calling
a
him out.
concussion. He got kicked in the face. He's in concussion protocol.
So's Hightower.
I saw them giving him smelling salts, just putting him back in there like it was fine.
Now-
And they, like Al said, there was no pressure on that kid.
No. And then coming into the game, New England was number one against yards against rush against them. They hold the Steelers, Najee Harris, 12 carries, 29 yards. Warren, 7 carries for – the leading rusher was Trubisky, 8 carries for 30 yards. But, George, do the math. 27 attempts for 70 yards.
Yeah,
How bad's that?
Fall forward that far.
Well, New England does that to everybody, though.
Yeah,
You understand? That's why the defense lost that game. You can't allow New England to score 21 points. They don't score
3
10.
touchdown passes
No,
on the
it
backup.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you win that game, and said, okay, we're going to have 17 points to Steelers.
We gotta win.
You think you
Yeah.
should win that
Yeah.
game?
Absolutely.
And here's the other thing. The Steelers have no identity. Let me say this, and talking to Ray Fittipaldo just recently, before you guys came here. All right, the Steelers are at midfield, or 3 minutes to go. They have a 3rd and 2. Throw a pass and flat, incomplete. 4th and 2. Throw a 40-yard pass downfield. Where's all this talk about Freiermuth, 6'7", putting him over the middle with a quick curl for 7 or 8 yard pass completion just to get a first down? I don't understand those two calls at all.
You know, it's interesting, though, Eddie, if you watch, and that's what I do. I go back and watch the plays. The play was for him. He didn't get open. That was the first look.
I didn't see him.
Yeah,
You
I did. I
Okay.
watched it. That was
Okay.
who the play was for. So he said, okay, I have to get rid of this ball.
There you go.
So he throw it down the field
Okay.
60 yards.
Don't you think-
But I would have ran the ball.
Right,
I'd have ran the ball.
Third and two,
I'd
run
have ran
play.
the
I
ball.
agree.
2 attempts
Yep.
to pick up 2
I don't,
yards.
even though they couldn't run, I know they couldn't run.
Yeah.
I still would have tried.
You know, I see that a lot. High school, college, 3rd down, and you're thinking, okay, we have 2 downs. We can get half. but they throw that ball. Now they're forced on fourth down.
That's a good point, George.
The 40-yard pass was
No.
ridiculous.
Once
need a
again, that
first
wasn't
down.
called.
Yeah,
That's what
you
I
need a
said.
first down.
He had to
You
just
need
get
a
rid of
first
it.
down.
Now Belichick 14-4 against the Steelers, 10-3 versus Tomlin, 4-1 against Cowher, and he's done it with 4 different quarterbacks. The last 2 years with 2 backup quarterbacks, Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi. So let's look at things here. The Steelers, the last 2 years, they're 16-14. Since starting 11-0 in 2020, they are 26-26-1. 6 years, no playoff wins, and a number of 20-point losses over the years. And the 3 straight playoff losses, they gave up an average of 42 points a game, an NFL record. So, having said that, Tomlin has 1 year left on his contract. Do the Rooneys extend it or wait to see what happens?
As I said previously last week, so I don't want to repeat myself. He's coach of the year.
No way. No way. Albert.
No, you tell me who they're better than. You pick them right now.
Albert,
tell me
you
who
tell
they're
me
better
the
than.
players stink?
I know they stink.
Who's picked them?
Oh,
He
I
has.
do blame for that.
No, he's
But I'm
number.
talking-
Well,
they
he's
stink.
picked the players.
If you're watching the
he's had
games-
a heavy hand in picking
I don't
these
think he
players.
picks all the players.
I don't think he
And that's
picks them,
every coach,
but
picks
he has a
players.
heavy hand
I'm
in
just saying
picking them.
everybody's looking at the wrong
Oh,
way.
no,
They got 7
no,
wins
no.
with the worst team in the league. I don't know who's better than them. I mean,
I'm-
who's worse than them?
I'm
Maybe
looking-
the Ravens.
okay.
I don't think Arizona's worse
Okay,
than
then
them.
it's
when
been
Murray's
this-
playing.
Okay,
No, I don't think
26-26-1.
so. I don't think so.
In their last 53
If you go by
games.
record, yes, but I'm
Okay.
talking about
All right.
totally watching the games.
All I'm saying is this: maybe it's time to look.
Well, I hope it
at,
happens.
look at a change.
I want it to happen so bad.
Okay.
So they go
Okay.
2-12, and
Well-
somebody will say,
well,
"Man, how did that happen?" I want it to
Okay,
happen.
I mean, it's at some point.
Trubisky.
Listen, Dan Rooney forced Chuck Noll out. Look,
Pickett.
Tom Landry got fired. Your buddy Paul Brown got
I'm hoping he
forced
does
out
get
in
fired. I just said
Cleveland.
to you, I want to get
Trade.
fired.
They're not
I'm
firing
not
him.
saying
They're
they're
not.
not
I'm
going to
thinking maybe he
fire.
resigns or gets out of
They're
there.
gonna
I want it
trade.
to happen.
They're trading.
His buddy Dan Tepper wants him
They're
down
gonna
down
trade.
I want it to happen
down in
badly.
South
They're
Carolina.
gonna trade.
They'll bring in one of
All
those.
right.
What do you call them, George?
I'm
Cow-
not.
they're
I'm
gonna
not
bring a cowboy.
Whether
You're
they
gonna say,
third or five Cowboys.
At some point, maybe it's good for the change for both
I don't
sides,
mind- I don't
both
mind
ways.
that.
Okay,
but I'm saying that they're
no.
blaming the wrong guy. They got no players.
Well, he has to assume responsibility. You can't
But
exalt
they won
him
7
of all
games.
blame.
Wait a minute. It's
Yeah,
like they won
7
one
games.
game.
All
They
right.
got 7 wins.
You know, I never
but-
heard anyone. That's amazing that you think that. I have never once heard one person say that.
But what?
Him being a good coach this
Not a
year.
good coach. He's a great
No,
coach.
but I'm talking this
Okay,
year.
no, but he okay.
Because they think Pittsburgh's good, and
All
they're
right.
hurting.
Let me. I need to mention this. He got booed during the game, and now they're cheering for Mason Rudolph, who they booed in the preseason game, running onto the field.
fans.
But what do you expect
Those are
when
fans.
they had 8 hours to drink? And they're playing Renegade over
Yeah,
and
those
over
are
again.
fans.
They'd have booed Santa Claus
Yeah,
and cheered for
absolutely.
a
Yeah,
Attila
don't go by fanatics.
Right.
But the point with this is, with this guy, if you don't extend him, now he's lame duck.
Right. So
I
you
don't
got to
think
make
My
a
hope is they
decision.
get rid of him. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, I think it's at some point, if Brian Billick was saying, after
And then
10
hope they bring
years.
Brian Billick in. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, I'm just saying, after 10 years, maybe, like Belichick's going to leave New England. Maybe he's better suited to go to San Diego, where the rumor is they'd be more than happy if he parts ways.
No, he's losing because he doesn't have any players. Belichick.
Yeah.
He has no players at all. So I
Yeah,
get that
he
why
has
he's
no
losing.
offensive players,
No.
that's for sure.
picked
But
Mac
here's what I'm
Jones
gonna say,
killed
though.
him in the red
I'm
zone.
going to say it again. He has 3 wins. Tom has 7.
But
There's a
don't
big-
compare Tomlin to Belichick.
I'm not
There's no
comparing- I'm not
comparison.
comparing coach. I'm saying teams.
All right, we're done. We'll get him a sedative, and we'll see you next
Oh, it
week.
bothers me.
High school sports, community events, all of your favorite local shows are calling the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel their home. Find out everything your neighborhood has to offer on Channel 100 or on YouTube. Spirit, town pride, local communities. This is the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel.